my name is TviTournaments, back with another live stream, and we're going to be just discussing tournament stuff, mainly Tournament 2. I think we should start off with Tournament 1. At the moment, Tournament 1 is going fairly well. There are some videos up online on YouTube at the moment, which I'll go over. Let's do that now, actually. So here we've got our YouTube channel. I've uploaded the first 2 battles that I've competed in. Tournament 1's wrapping up really nicely. You'll see more videos loading up. Tournament 2 in a nutshell, if I can find the rules for it, is the duo type Redux tournament. With how limited the Pokédex was, we opted to instead of representing one type, we've gone to represent 2 typings. Restrictions are no legendaries and no Paradox Pokemon. Haven't banned non-Dozo Tatsugiri, but we've banned the ability that Tatsugiri gets, which is Commander. Like I said before, we've got doubles. Typings, we've got Psychic Fighting for me. Mark has Flying Electric. I'm a dude that's got Flying and Dark. Wizzy has Flying and Steel. Bruised Octopus has Bug and Steel. TVA Secretary Sarah has Fairy Ghost. Javo has Fighting and Flying. Nico has Fighting and Grass. Mosba has Psychic and Fairy. 1509 has Normal and Fire. Kieran Johnson has Ice Fighting. Dries has Bug Psychic. Ultraloking has Poison Rock. Kezius has Ghost Dragon. And Zeke Rates has Electric and Steel. So we have 16 people at the moment, all representing 2 types. And one of the rules that we've gone for this tournament is that there has to be an ace Pokemon. So the ace Pokemon is basically a Pokemon that shares both of these typings. So Fighting and Psychic, there will be Medicham or Gallade. For Electric and Flying, there will be Oricorio or Kilowattrel, and so on. On this team, I'll need 3 Fighting types and 3 Psychic types. My ace Pokemon will either represent Fighting or my ace Pokemon will represent Psychic, and I'll balance it out that way. Dries will only be able to translate into a Bug type or a Psychic type. He can have his Pokemon, say he has Cypher, which is Bug and Flying. He will not be able to translate his Cypher into a Flying type. Any translations that don't represent the typings will automatically lose your points in a battle. But at the moment, these 16 players, we've got a Group A, a Group B, a Group C, and a Group D. And what will happen is the top 2 of this will advance to the winner's bracket. The winner's bracket obviously being what everyone wants to aim for to win the tournament, will be a top 8. And the bottom 2 of each table will go to a redemption bracket, which you'll still get to battle and redeem yourself. The person who wins that redemption bracket will then get to fight the winner of the overall tournament to see if redemption can be claimed. You get 4 points on this win table if you win by 2-0. You get 3 and 2 points if you win by 2-1 or if you lose by 1-2. And you'll still get a point even if you lose everything. So we have Venomoth here. Venomoth I've not personally used. It's got some decent speeds, decent special attack. It just looks a bit flimsy. Heracross, which again is very good if you want to take advantage of that Guts ability or the Moxie ability. 125 attack, very decent speeds, kind of bulky. I just watch out for Flying types personally. You've got an Intimidator with Masquerain. Unfortunately, it looks a bit too flimsy, especially with that quad weak to rock. Yeah, it has decent special attack though, I suppose. Then there's Vespiquen, quite slow, maybe you want to set up a Trick Room, and it's really bulky with over 100 defenses each. Vivian is kind of like a Diet Butterfree in that it has the Compound Eyes ability, which Butterfree used in Gen 8 to like use powder moves and to increase the accuracy of its lower accuracy moves. But it also has Frame Guard, which could be very interesting. So yeah, you could run this super offensively, I suppose, with max speed, max special attack. Or if you wanted to use that Friend Guard ability and just keep it there, have Protect on it, maybe run some powdery moves, and you're good. So I've gone into Fortress a little bit earlier. You get Sturdy, which means you can guarantee a setup move or guarantee an offensive move. You lose at times for weakness if you translate into a Bug or Steel type. You have good moves, maybe you've want a Magnet Rise, so you don't want to have a weakness to grounds. You've got Toxic Spikes, you've got Rapid Spin if you want to get rid of hazards. You have Struggle Bug and Pounce, so if you want to lower their speed or special attack, that would be quite nice. Or if you just want to Bulldoze, then that's also a good option. Gets all the weather moves, Volt Switch is interesting, I didn't know that. Yeah, you get Rock Slides, you get Body Press, if you use an defensive Body Press, that would be a good option. You get Drill Run, you get Stealth Rock, you get Ice Spinner, so you could get rid of trains if possible, and it's just a nice ice move. You have Helping Hand as well, so if you wanted to run it that way, Helping Hand would just help your partner Pokemon out. Technician mainly, you could have Swarm, but I'd personally opt for Technician. It just increases Bullet Punch, which is what this Pokemon is known for. If you translate into a Steel type and use Bullet Punch, if you give it a Life Orb or Choice Bands, then this thing will be doing a lot of damage. Especially early on, maybe you want to get a quick knockout to make it go to 4-3. You get quick attack as well if you're worried about people resisting Steel. And you get Iron Head and X-Scissor, which is the standard. You can give it Sword Stance if you want to run it really offensively, maybe put more bulk into it and just use the Sword Stance to worry about its attack. The U-turn, so if you're doing that Choice Band, you can just get out there if you have a bad matchup. It gets Tailwind, so maybe if you wanted to make it more bulkier, you can set up Tailwind and go from there. Perhaps because the new Pokemon introduced into Gen 9, it has decent abilities in Synchronizing Telepathy. Revival Blessing revives your Pokemon in the back, so in 4v4, let's say 2 of your Pokemon knocked out and you've got Rabsco on the front line and you're not really liking the matchups, you can just revive your Scissor in the back or something and it gets revived for up to half its health, which is nice if you want to just come in and swing the momentum in your favour. It's got decent bulk, 75, 85, 100. Maybe you can set up a Trick Room, maybe you could give it some sort of moves that help it out. It gets Cosmic Power, which boosts defense and special defense, so maybe you'd want to run it that way, use some Cosmic Powers and then recover, go from there. Maybe you want to just cause chaos and use Memento. There's Trick Room there, you've got Bug Buzz, you've got Sludge Bomb, you've got Earth Power, you've got Psychic Energy Ball. Gets a lot of coverage moves, there's Shadow Ball, Power Gem, Dazzling Gleam, so yeah, Electro Ball. You've got a good solid 10 types, I reckon, if you wanted different coverages, and then obviously you've got your defensive options like Revival Blessing or Cosmic Power. You could even run like maybe a speed swap, so if you don't want like that speed, you give it to your opponent, you're down the quickest on the board. Umbreon is known for its high bulk, 110, 130. It gets some really good status moves, it can really cause chaos. So yeah, Umbreon, Inner Focus, Synchronized, really massive bulk, good HP, you just sit there and take a couple hits. In doubles, it'll be interesting to see if it gets used. Houndoom again, it's got really nice special attack, you could make an attacker if you really want to. Typing is nice because it adds fire to the table and it allows fire to take down the bug types in this tournament, steel types in this tournament. Tyranitar, again, Tyranitar's going to be a very prevalent threat if you have Rock or Dark. Sets up the Sandstorm, massive attack, always known for its bulk. You can either run it for pure offense or you could give it like Thunder Wave and make it more technical. Cacturn, Cacturn wasn't in Sword and Shield. I don't know too much about Cacturn. I see it gets Water Absorb, which is going to be decent. Maybe you can translate into a Dark type or a Flying type. Just have that nice water resistance or immunity. And yeah, you can run it either or, attack or special attack. Honchkrow as one option gets Moxie, which is really nice because if you knock out the opponent and it works really well. Super Luck, again, you could give this thing a, what's the item? The item that increases critical hit chances, so I think it's a Razor Fang and stuff. This thing will just be hitting critical hits like crazy. Stat wise, 125 attack, 100 HP, so this thing's really bulky, just look out for the defenses, maybe you want to boost them up. It's quite slow for flying type, so maybe you want to boost up. But then yeah, like Murkrow is known for, it gets Taunt if you want to taunt them. You can even trap them in with Mean Look. You've got Whirlwind if you want to switch them out. You've got Sky Attack, Perish Song if you want to Perish Trap them. Brave Bird, Open Hand if you want to do that. It gets Heat Wave, U-Turn, Thunder Wave if you want to paralyze the opponent. Scary Face if you want to slow them down. And then it gets Comeuppance, which is a new move in this game. Bombardier is the new Pokemon introduced in Scarlet and Violet. Its average abilities are right. I wouldn't see too much viability in this tournament per se. You'd want to make use of that Rocky Payload because it gets a lot of Rock type moves. Yeah, here we go, Rock Throw, Rock Tomb, Rock Slide. Rock Slide will be very good in this tournament because you can just hit both Pokemon, plus it gets stabbed, which just allows it to hit both sides really well, plus has that nice chance to flinch. It gets Parting Shot, so if you're not liking your matchup, you can just throw the opponent off by lowering their stats, bring it back in later, and hit them with Rock type moves. It gets Knockoff, which again gets rid of that held up. It gets Dual Wing Beat, so if you're worried about a Focus Sash user, Dual Wing Beat will be very nice if you want to just get rid of that. It gets Sucker Punch, which is nice. It gets Roost, so if you wanted to build this thing more bulky, you could just roost itself up. You lose your Flying type, so you just become a pure Dark type. We have Dragonite, which obviously multi-scale is really nice. If you're worried about Fake Out, then you've got Inner Focus. You can run this physically, you can run this specially, and it's just got enough bulk to take in quite a few hits. Salamence again is the more aggressive cousin of Dragonite with Intimidate and Moxie to throw the opponent off. It hits a bit harder physically and specially. It's a lot faster, just doesn't have the bulk that Dragonite would have. Got Haxorus here, it gets first impression and going edging near 150 attack. Nice 97 speed, almost 100. Decent defense, just a little bit weary on the special defense side of things. And Appleton is more laid back, more bulky. Sit there with Leech Seed, sit there with Recover, get an iron defense off and body press maybe, and just win the game that way. Gets 3 nice abilities, so if you're an attacker and you don't want to be intimidated, Clear Body helps. If you're worried about the opponent using shields, if you're worried about the opponent using substitutes, then it'll ignore that. Or if you just want to cause chaos and disable the opponent's moves, then Curse Body is the way to go. Only real weakness to Ice, only real weakness to Ghost, Dragon, Dark and Fairy. But again, if you translate into a Dragon type, you get rid of some of those. If you translate into a Ghost type, you get rid of some of those. And yeah, Dragon Dance, you get Phantom Force. You get things like U-Turn, Psychic Fangs for offensive things. If you want to run this more of a support Pokemon, you have Thunder Wave, you've got Reflect and Light Screen, you've got Will-O-Wisp, you've got things like Sable, you've got things like Sucker Punch if you want a priority move. Not that you'd need it, because this thing's going to be really quick. And yeah, you just want to take advantage of its massive speeds. You do not want to miss out on just either maxing the speed out or putting some speed investment and just going crazy with maybe the attack and special attack, or making it a bit more bulky and running it with Will-O-Wisp. And Jolteon, again, it's one of the fastest in the tournaments. It'll be the fastest if you give it quick feet, nice special attack of 110, just go crazy with like Thunderbolts and stuff. Luxray, right, so 3 good abilities again. So Rivalry, if you want to play Gender Wars. Gets Intimidate, so you can lower the opponent's attack. Gets Guts, so if you give this thing a Flame Orb, then you increase your attack, which is 120, which is really nice. It's a shame that its speed's quite slow. Maybe you want to increase its speed in Tailwinds, because you've got those flying types. Maybe you wanted to use Trick Room, Elite Truss. Slower than Rotom, it can work physically or specially. Gets nice bulk as well, 85, 80, 80. Maybe you want to run this with a certain defensive move. If it gets not Iron Defense, Acid Armor. But if this thing gets Acid Armor, then boost its defenses. Maybe you just want to slap an Assault Vest on and take advantage of its attacks. It's a good option if you didn't want to use Rotom. Maybe Rotom's a bit too predictable and you want to go for a different Levitate option. Hormot, Electric and Fire in, first of that typing. Gets Iron Fist, which powers up its punching moves, so you can give it Fire Punch, give it Thunder Punch, give it Ice Punch. Gets Mock Punch, which is a priority move fighting, which works really well with this. And its stats, it's just screaming to either be all out speed or all out attack. Tailwind setup, bait with your flying types, or boost your stats if the opponent intimidates you. But like I said, it gets massive special attack, massive speed, but you're only looking at really like flying type moves and electric type moves. Volt Switch, Discharge, Hurricane. It gets Roost if you want to run it a bit more bulky and just use Roost. There's Tailwind, Thunderbolt, set up Electric Terrain maybe and help your other electric types out. And there's Terra Blast, the only real option. So Magnezone, being a steel type, gets a lot of resistances. Just look out for that Times for ground, but then you can Terastallize away from that, maybe Terastallize into an electric type or Terastallize into a steel type. But I'd opt for Analytic or Sturdy personally. Sturdy helps you with those one-hit knockout moves, and Analytic just allows you to get a power buff of 30% if you're the last to attack, basically. Very nice special attack of 130, very nice bulky defense and special defense. Yeah, you just maybe you want to Electro Web and hit both Pokemon, lower their speed. Maybe you want to set yourself up, maybe Iron Defense a few times, and yeah, there's Body Press if you want to do the Iron Defense Body Press strategy. Gets Thunder Wave, gets Reflect and Light Screens, maybe if you want to run it more of a support option. There's the Rain Dance if you want to have a Rain Dance option. You can see Wigglytuff with 140 HP. Unfortunately, its defenses just kind of don't help it, and with 85 special attack, it's not looking like a good option for Wigglytuff. I mean, even with competitive boosts, that's very situational. Azumarill, now I can talk a lot about Azumarill. It gets Thick Fat, it gets Huge Power, it gets Sap Sipper. All 3 of those abilities are fantastic. Thick Fat halves damage from fire and ice, so if you were to commit to Terastallization and Terastallize into a fairy type, you just grant an extra two resistances. Huge power, which is what I'd personally opt for, doubles this attack stat. You can pull off some very nice Aqua Jets, you can pull off some very nice Play Roughs. You could even give this thing a Belly Drum and a Berry, so you can max out its attack and just go for Aqua Jets from there. And it does get Sap Sipper, so Sap Sipper makes you immune to grass. Ash Bun gets the ability Well-Baked Body, so it will still have full immunity to fire, and it gets the ability, it gets the advantage of having an increase in its defenses, which you can then use Body Press. And it's got a really nice speed as well, so it's underappreciated for at 95 speed. And Tinkerton, very nice typing. Stats are really good except for that attack stat. It's just a really nice special wall. It has decent speed to take advantage of and go quicker than a lot of the opponents that it will face. At least she opted straight away for Mimikyu, and knew that Mimikyu would represent Ghost and Fairy. And with its disguise ability, I don't blame her. She gets the ability to either Swords Dance for a turn, she gets the ability to maybe set up a Trick Room if she wants to run a Trick Room team. She gets things like Play Rough, Shadow Claw, Shadow Sneak, Wood Hammer. So yeah, you can either run this all out attack. I mean, its attack is sitting at a nice 90, so 90 is pretty decent for this Pokemon, and it can just take advantage of that, especially with Swords Dance, if you want to Swords Dance this. Or if you want to take advantage of Disguise and just use that nice bulk of 80 defense and 105 special defense. You could give things like Will-O-Wisp, which is here. You could Trick, maybe have a Choice Scarf and you want to throw the opponent off. Swords Dance, it gets Taunt, so if you want to taunt the opponent. Light Screen, Bulk Up, so if you want to, instead of going Swords Dance, you want to increase your defense a bit more. Similar stats, I think this is a lot more fast than Hatterene. It's slightly less harder, but then where it hits slightly less harder, it will be able to survive a bit more with its defenses, and it'll just be able to move first with that nice speed. And again, this thing gets Mystical Fire. You could Memento if you wanted to throw the opponent off. It gets things like Thunderbolt, an Energy Ball, Shadow Ball, Aura Sphere if you wanted to guarantee fighting type move hit. Or you run it more support, you run it with Will-O-Wisp, you could taunt the opponent, you can Imprison. Arcanine, just really fast option, hits either or, and Intimidate just helps out a ton. You could also run the Justified option, which works really well in the Dynamax days. Maybe you could pull it off with Terastallization. Torque Hole you could use. Torque Hole gets Drought, is out for Sunshine, which reduces hard damage from water types, which is what it's weak to. Volcarona we discussed earlier, again, you have very nice special attack. Maybe if you set up the Sunshine, it'll do even more fire damage. And it just gets really nice speed and very nice special defense. A villain, Grass Fire is really good together, it's only weak to 3 typings. Give it Chlorophyll, maybe you can have Torque Hole and pair this up with Chlorophyll, double that speed. And then you just choose whether you want to be physically or specially offensive. Iroar, which we've discussed, is basically a fire type with the immunity to Ghost. It gets Rivalry, which allows it to get an increase in its attacks if it goes up against the opposite gender. I think you said you were going to go for male option, but seeing how female is a lot more prevalent, you might end up having to go for the female option. But it does get Moxie as well, so if you wanted to increase your attacks, then go for that. Unfortunately though, this thing only has 68 attacks, so Moxie, unless you can really work around that, Moxie might not be the best option. Maybe you just want to go with all that special attack. And it gets a really nice speed of 106, which is cool, because then you can just outspeed a lot of the opponent's Pokemon. Decent bulk, I suppose, 86, 72, 66. Just look out for super effective moves, I'd say. And yeah, you get access to Yawn. You get Entrainment, which could be helpful. You get rid of the opponent's abilities, maybe their abilities will be good. And yeah, you get things like Solar Beam, so if you have a Sun team, then you get that. You get Overheat, you get Fire Blast. I'd personally opt for Rivalry. I can't really see much uses of Moxie. And Unnerve is a situational if the opponent has a Berry. Gengar, as we all know, had to be nerfed in Gen 8 and got rid of its Levitate ability. And 130 special attack is just a crazy way to kind of lead any sort of game. Drifblim adds flying to the sides. You get some decent abilities. You get Unburden, which doubles that speed. It doesn't have too much bulk in its defenses, but this thing gets Stockpile. So I believe it gets Baton Pass and Stockpile, so you increase your defenses. And then it gets Strength Sap as well, so you lower the opponent's attack in exchange for healing yourself. I've known Poltergeist for 2 things. One is to Strength Sap spam to lower the opponent's attacks. And the other thing I've known this for is for Shell Smash Baton Pass, where you just buff your stats up. If you have a focus sash or white herb, it basically guarantees that you live, and then you just bat and pass into whatever is in the back. If you have weak armor, so yeah, your defense goes lower, but you get +2 speeds. A Goldengo gets an amazing ability, amazing typing, amazing stats, amazing move sets, move pool, and just what else can you say? Just make it rain in doubles is really nice. Dazzling Gleam is really nice. Give it Shadow Ball. Your fourth move slot could either be Protect or Nasty Claw or Cover if you build more bulky. Jump Bluff with Chlorophyll, which is really nice. Gets Infiltrator as well if you want to get through shields or substitutes. Unfortunately, this thing only has 55 attack and special attack, so you're not even making use of like sweeping, and even its defenses. It's got decent speed, but what use is speed if you can't do anything? I imagine this thing gets like Leech Seed. I imagine it gets things that can support like Poison, like Toxics or whatever. Tropius adds that flying type that Jumping Off adds. It just looks like a more bulkier option. It has just under 100 health. It has just under 90 defenses. It even gets Solar Power, which is Charizard's hidden ability, where in the sunshine your special attack is increased. Unfortunately, this only has 72 special attack, but if you can make use of it, then go for it. Arbolivia, like I mentioned before, so this one will get Seed Sower. Seed Sower sets up this grassy terrain. If you've got grassy pelts, Go-Go, then that works really well. Toad Scroll adds ground to your typings, which is nice. It is only really good in special defense and speed. Let's get Spore, so if you want to put opponents to sleep, it's nice. Breloom is really good in this format, especially with Terastallization being prevalent. You've got the choice to either Terastallize into a grass type and take advantage of Bullet Seeds, maybe give this a loaded dice. Loaded dice allows you to guarantee 4 to 5 hits on those 2 to 5 hit moves, and with Terastallize and with the Technician ability, so you've got Bullet Seed, which is now increased by 50%. You've got it Stab because it's a grass move, then you've got Terastallization, guaranteeing to hit 4 to 5 times. It's over 100 power basically, and it just can put an end to people with Focus Sash. It puts an end to Pokemon that maybe have increased their defenses, and the Bullet Seed just gets critical hits. You can also Terastallize into a fighting type. Technician again, take advantage of that Mock Punch, take advantage of Drain Punch to get your health back. Stat wise, if we go to stats, yeah, a massive 130 attack, so any Terastallize option would be good on the offensive side. Defensively, it's looking like a Focus Sash might also be needed on your team, unless you sit this thing behind Aurora Veil, which we mentioned earlier. Maybe you can have a Bomber Snow set of Aurora Veil, and then this thing survives a bit more. And then the speed is only 70, but then again, if with Mock Punch, it's priority, it's going first. Yeah, we've got Mock Punch here. We've got Force Palm, which can paralyze, Seed Bomb, Bulldoze. So 90 power, ground moves just slightly weaker than Earthquake, but then you lower the speed, which could help you with speed control. Rock Tomb again, that's 90 power, lowering speed. Zen Headbutt, Thunder Punch. There's Drain Punch if you want to get your health back. There's Poison Jab, Rock Slide if you want to hit both Pokemon. The Will unfortunately decided to restrict the best typing, or I say the best typing, one of the best typings from anyone using it. The only way that you can use it is with things like Gastrodon with Water, or with Garchomp with Dragon. You have to rely on its secondary typing. So we missed the opportunity to be using Dugtrio, which is a shame. We missed the opportunity to use Donphan, which is a shame. Hippowdon is a really good sand setter. And Mudsdale is a really good wall, hits really hard and bogs itself up quite nicely. Sandaconda again, another good sand option. Unfortunately, we can't have that. Cloyster, which really good. Personal experience using it. You can use Ice Shard, which is priority, massive 180 defense, so you can just wall out all the physical attackers that would otherwise threaten your team. It gets access to Shell Smash. It gets access to Skill Link, which allows you to hit 5 times guaranteed. The only thing is it's special defense, which yeah, an Assault Vest could help, but then you could also set up a light screen for it. Frostlass just adds Ghost to your typing. It could throw the opponent off because you've got Ice types. If they use a fighting type move, you can just switch and Ghost to do nothing. Frostmoth we mentioned in the bug section. Ice Scales allows you to have that increased special defense. Snow would allow you to have that increased defense. All you got to do is just spam Blizzard or spam Bug Buzz and you're good. Titan would be a good option for you if you were to have Hail on your team or Snow on your team, because this defense would go up by 50%, maybe slap an Assault Vest on, and it gets 130 attack. It gets Ice Shard, which is priority. It gets really nice Ice type moves. It gets things like Close Combat and Liquidation. It gets Big Fat, so if you're worried about Fire types or Ice types, then that would help you out. Plus Rush doubles this speed, so not only are you looking really good defensively and offensively, you now have a good option for your speed. It's Hyper Cutter, so you can't be intimidated. Iron Fist, similar to Pormot, increases your punching moves by 20%, so whatever punching moves it gets, that will be increased. And Anger Point, so maybe, what I'm thinking, have Anger Point on this, have your Frost Loss if you have a Frost Loss partner. Use Frost Breath on this, it would resist because it's an Ice type. It'll be a guaranteed critical hit. You get basically a belly drum, and you just go crazy with that. The Frost Breath into your slot. Anger Point activates. This 132 is now going to skyrocket. In the snow, this defense goes up quite a lot. It helps with the HP. Just look out for the special defensive side. It gets Crab Hammer, which is nice. It gets Wide Guard, so you can support your team out if you're worried about Gold Engos make it rain, or if you're worried about Dazzling Gleam. Gunk Shot, Iron Head, Body Press, Rock Slide. All out attack with Anger Point paired with Frost Last. Maybe set up an Aurora Veil and Snow. If not, just Iron Fists and go crazy. You got Ursaring. Ursaring with Guts hits really hard, especially that 130 attack. Quite slow though, so you'd want to probably invest in Tailwind or Toy Scarf maybe. There's Gumshoes, which again, adaptability, that's a really good option for this tournament because you can Terrestrialize into a normal type. The stab becomes like a ×3 bonus, and with that 110 attack, you just use things like Takedown, you use things like Double Edge. Stake Out helps for Switcher Outers. Strong Jaws just helps with fighting moves. Mouse Hold, which I imagine is another really good option because it's really quick, has Population Bomb with Technician. But if you want to run it more defensively, maybe max these defenses out, you can just give it Friend Guard and just play support role. Maybe you want to encore the opponent, maybe you want to follow me and just redirect. Varigarath, which is really good because it's got 120 HP, it's bulky with its 70 defenses. Armor Tail, which prevents it from priority moves. Muck gets Stench, which maybe this gets some moves that can cause flinches. If you want a Poison Touch, say you want to poison the opponent, it'd be nice. Yeah, nice special defense in 100 and 105 HP. Hits really hard with 105 attack. There's Quillfish, which if played right could be good. It gets Intimidate, it gets Swift Swim, it gets Poison Point. But again, it all depends on how you play it. The stats don't really help it too much. But who knows, maybe adding water to your team is the big difference you need. Lord Toxpex. Massive defenses. Fortunately, its HP is a little bit low, but that doesn't matter when its defenses are really high. Toxpex can also get Toxic, it gets Toxic Spikes, it gets Baneful Bunker. Reverum, which is a new Pokemon I enjoy using. Basically 120 attack. It's really nice typing of Steel Poison, so as long as you've got an Air Balloon, you're fine. Filter still works quite nicely because Filter reduces the damage by 25%. And it's just got really nice speed of 90. It gets a signature move which does 100 power, especially with Terrestrialize, it does really well. This is going to be a Rock and Poison type with the ability of Toxic Debris to set up Toxic Spikes when hit with a physical move. Very key word physical there because the way around this is to hit especially. Or if you don't want to do that and you want to go for an unorthodox option, Corrosion's there because Corrosion just allows you to poison Steel types or Poison types. It is ×4 weeks ground, but again an Air Balloon can sort that out. Maybe a certain Terrestrial option will reduce that ×4 ground damage. Gets a signature move with Mortal Spin, which is pretty low damage, but it guarantees a poison, and it gets rid of things like Leech Seeds and stuff, which is nice. Toxic Spikes, Stealth Rocks, maybe even Venomous Shock if you want to double damage with poisoned Pokemon. Acid Armor if you want to increase the defense. Sludge Wave there, which does massive damage. There's 130 special attack. So even if you didn't want to build this bulky, max special attack and just Sludge Wave like crazy, or Power Gem like crazy, because it's got the speed to help it, it's got the HP to help it, and because the opponent's going to be coming into Toxic Spikes, it's going to really cause chaos. Slowbro is quite good. It does lose its Galarian form, but in exchange we still get to have that nice water typing. Gets a generator so you can switch in and out. Gets nice special attack at 100, it gets nice defense and special defense, 100 HP. Bronzong adds the forever famous steel typing to your team. Abilities are really useful because Heat Proof halves damages from fire types, which is really nice, and Levitate gets rid of that ground weakness. And with 116 defenses each, you don't need to worry too much about the 89-79 attack special attack because You can always just body press, you can always just gyro ball. Gothitelle, it gets competitive, which helps me if my stats get lowered. And in Shadow Tag, which is the main one, you can lock the opponents in so long as they're not a ghost type. 110 special defense, 95 special attack. Gets access to fake out as well, I noticed. It gets access to things like hypnosis. Spapper is another really good option. It has massive speed with massive special attack. Its signature move lowers the Pokemon special defense by 2 stages, meaning that after the second hit, it's basically done. So Medicham has the Pure Power ability, which is basically the same as Azumarill's, where its attack stat is doubled. And it also gets Telepathy, which means that if I'm using things like Earthquake, or I'm using things that do damage to everything, it just avoids those. It's only really weak to Ghost and Fairy. Oh, and Flying's there, so it's got 3 weaknesses. Yeah, with that Pure Power ability, this 60 will then be doubled. So let's say I've got 112, that'll go up to 224. That's already looking quite nice. It's got decent bulk. This thing might still die to 1 or 2 hits. It gets nice utility, things like Fake Out. You can use things like Bullet Punch, Axe Kick, which this thing stole from Low Kicks, or High Jump Kick. Massive attacks that are going to guarantee either a knockout or a very close knockout. Glade got a buff this gen with its Sharpness ability. Slicing type moves, which I'll go over in depth, increased by 50%, which essentially gives it a same type of attack bonus for anything that slices. It also gets Justified and Steadfast. Steadfast isn't too, I'm not too worried about unless someone tries to fake out me. That's similar to Gardevoir's but reversed, so it gets 125 attack. It still gets the nice 115 special defense. And then the 80 speed, so all I need to look out for really is someone hit me on the physical side. You get Knock Off, which gets rid of the held item. Shadow Sneak, which is a priority move, which is always nice. Destiny Bond, if I feel like a physical attack's coming, I can just end the opponent's. There's Night Slash, so I get a stab on Night Slash. I get stabbed on things like Fury Cutter, but I go for X Scissor personally. Sacred Sword, which is a slicing move, so that's not only stab, but then 50% extra from slicing. Same with Leaf Blade, but for grass types. Aqua Cutter, which is the new move introduced in Gen 9. It's a water variant of Leaf Blade, just slightly weaker. There's Helping Hand, so I could even Helping Hand and run this as a support option. There's Aerial Ace, so Aerial Ace gets increased by 50%. Pseudo Wudo, it's got 100 attack, which is decent, but then it's quite frail on the special defensive side and speed, it's quite slow. Sojourner, which is interesting because it has Power Spot, which increases your partner's attacks in doubles. Garganackle gets Purifying Salts, which means that this thing cannot be statused in terms of like poisoning or paralysis. And the other thing is it takes half damage from ghost type moves. With Anger Shell is quite useful. Got Regenerated there if you want to switch and switch out. It has got a nice defense of 115 and a nice attack of 100. Unfortunately, it doesn't get its G-Max form. It doesn't get access to Swift Swim. Because of stats, you've got massive 115 attack. You've got decent speed, but then that can also always be doubled Swift Swim. Yeah, on the defensive side, you're looking really good. It's just a little bit unfortunate on the special defense, but again, Assault Vest can help that. Shell Smash to increase its attack and special attack and speed. Jaw Locking, or you can go Psychic Fangs. You can go for Ice Fang if you really want to. Lucario, obviously, physical or special. Really fast with 90 speeds. It's a bit flimsy, so maybe a Focus Sash or get it behind screens. And then you just go for either Aura Spheres and Shadow Balls on the special side, or if you want to hit it physically, you've got Bullet Punch and Meteor Mash and Close Combats. Klefki, Prankster as well, with certain utility that other Prankster Pokemon might not get. It is quite bulky as well, just unfortunately its HP is a bit too low. Operaja, so again, it doesn't have its G-Max form, which is unfortunate. It gets Sheer Force, which means if you give it a Life Orb, it ignores the Life Orb drain. At 130 attack, it's looking at very nice power, especially behind a Life Orb. Orpham's one of the only ones that we haven't gone over. It's Earth Eater, so instantly it gets rid of one of its weaknesses. Weak to fire and fighting. Gets Shed Tail, so you can always switch out Orphan, which is nice. All-Knight's fine and still, only weak to fire and electric. It's Mirror Armor's ability, which kind of swaps over stat lowering effects. It's Unnerve and Pressure, which could be useful. HP is looking really good, defense is looking really good, and special defense is looking really good. It can set up Iron Defenses and Body Press. This thing can set up Brave Birds and Iron Heads and get flinches off. It gets Taunt, so if you're worried about that. It gets Light Screen and Reflects if you want to sit behind walls. You get Bulk Up, U-Turn. Pelipper sets up Rain, so on a Rain team, gets access to things like Wide Guard, Hurricane, Hydro Pump. Floatzel again in the Rain, 115 speeds, 105 attack, just spam Terra Water and just go crazy with Jets and Wave Crashes. Basculin, again with adaptability, sets to attack here, maybe turn into water and just go all out with that. It has just got under 100 speed, but you can make that work. Panafin, a pure water type, massive speed. If you can get it into its hero form, then you're looking at 160 base attack. give this thing a twist scarf or twist band, set it up with the water with Pelipper. Hairy Armor is really good because it gets thick fat and guts and sheer force, so 3 really amazing abilities, and it has the bulk for 144 health to just kind of take certain hits. It also gets fake out. Toxic Croak, that nice dry skin ability, so if you go to Terrestrialize, then you still have an immunity to water. Plus it'll heal it, so maybe you can water bait and switch into it as well. Persimmon gets Receiver and Defiance. Defiance is really nice to get this 120 up really nicely. Receiver, if it knocks out the opponent, then it receives the ability, so that's very situational. Annihilate, you've got Defiant on Annihilate, you've got Vital Spirit if you're worried about sleep. Massive 115 attack. Gets 2 good abilities in Unburden and Mold Breaker, so Unburden can give it a certain item like a berry, then it just doubles its speed. Mold Breaker if you're worried about things like Mimikyu, or if you're worried about things that would otherwise have an ability to resist that, then it just ignores that. And then it gets Flying Press, which is 100 power and counts for a fighting and a flying type. 500 total. Decent attack. Cypher here with its Technician ability, you'll be getting in very nice damaging moves that do 60 or less damage. And plus you've got 105 speed, 110 attack. Raptor gets Intimidate. You can even get Reckless, so if you want to give it Takedown and stuff. Gets things like Close Combat, which is nice. Talonflame, so again, Gale Wings, set up Tailwind really nicely. You can even use Brave Birds, use Will-O-Wisp and use things like Taunt. And then you get Flamigo with obviously Co-Star. You could even give it Scrappy, so if you're worried about ghost types, I suppose you could have Scrappy and hit it with normal fighting. Fighting's obviously going to be stabbed with its typing. So what will happen is they'll face the top 2. The top 2 advance into the top bracket. The bottom 2 will advance to the bottom bracket, and then they'll face it out for redemption. They're the 16 types. If you want to take part, just message anywhere basically, on Discord, on Facebook, on YouTube. We'll spin you a type. We'll make sure that you get, well, hopefully someone can get grounds, that'd be nice. These are 16 people that take part. Good luck to everyone taking part. Love to see what aces you choose. Good luck to Group A, B, and C, and D. Your matchups are kind of interesting. I've been your host, TviTournaments. Until next time guys, stay safe and good luck.